Hey, I'm Palmer Alexander, aka The Living Legend, KIL, one L and kill, but kill still kills. And this is my story, as I said before. Some people tell the story, some people are the story. I'm not gonna wait for nobody to give me my flowers. I'm gonna take them.
People are the story. My name is Palmer Alexander III. A lot of people know me as Palmer. My elders called me Junior, even though I am the third. Anyway, I've been at this entertainment slash sports thing for the last 20 years. I've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's no different from nobody else going through some things, but I wouldn't change nothing. You know, with all the things that I've been through, all the hardships that I had to go through, I wouldn't change nothing.
Right here, this is Harrison School, and this where a lot of the, activities took place. Basketball or cork. Cork was a game you play with. It's like stickball. You play with a broomstick and a tennis ball. One strike you out. You catch a pop fly, one bounce you out. You only play like 4 innings. It was a real fun game to play with just 2 people. But we would play kickball up here. Shoot hoops. Well, shooting hoops up here was a different thing because a lot of the older G's, the OGs, they always had necks. You wasn't getting on the court. So the only time I could get on the court is in between games, just shoot around, hope that they say, hey, little man, you can play on my team or whatever, but you wasn't getting no run with the older G's. And that's just how it was. And even though we're right here in the middle of Fowler neighborhood, it would be nothing for a few guys from O'Fallon Park, not from O'Fallon Park, Walnut Park, to come over here and hoop, because it was like that, when I was growing up, in the 80s, you're just coming up. So naturally, I wanted to be up here. I gravitated towards it because this was fun. I didn't see any danger or was conscious of any danger because this is where I grew up, and my grandmother, that alley right there, that was the threshold. That was the threshold. Couldn't go past the alley without either, an adult or uncle or whatnot. And they didn't want to be bothered, coming down here because they knew what was going on down here. They knew what was going on. But again, I'm like, they hooping. They listen to dance disco band. They smoking J's and shooting J's. I'm like, what's wrong with that? And then crack came. And you see how that, see how it affected, the community and stuff like that. But I'm just so addicted to coming down here because it was so taboo, and I didn't know why they did not want me hanging out down here, but the gang activity started picking up, especially around the time the movie's Colors came out. And this a Crip neighborhood. So I remember seeing, 19th Street RSC and just wondering like, man, what does that mean, whatnot? And not even being hip, and then one of my partners told me like, hey man, it ain't like that down here, man. You need to go ahead back down to your grandma's house. I'm like, what's up, man? We play all the time. No, we about to put some work in. I didn't know what they were doing at the time. They was beating a guy into the gang, and they didn't want me to see it. But I'm like, no, man, I want to be there. I want to see it. I want to be a part of it. But I'm glad that they like, hey, man, this ain't for you or whatnot, because I love sports. I love sports, and, I love talking about sports or talking about weather and politics, shit like that. So, I wasn't about no gang shit. I wasn't scared to fight. But they knew what my intentions were. And they knew my family, so they didn't want me getting mixed up. So I really appreciate the older homies looking out for me. I don't see a lot of that today. I wish I did, but I'm just really appreciative to the older guys on the block that really looked out for me. And so that's why I have I don't know, I feel like I'm obligated to help the next brother because I was helped, you know. So it's just that simple, you know. You help the next man up, you know. That's how I was taught, that's how I was raised, that's how, as they would say, the block raised me. Well, okay, well, that's how the block raised me. As I mentioned earlier, you know, being raised by a village, and you just take those things with you along the way. But this place be forever special. It broke my heart, man. The tornado that, you know, came through here back in May and tore up a lot of stuff. I mean, I was literally in tears when I was going past O'Fallon Park and seeing how decimated O'Fallon Park looked. I would say after all these years, I finally get it. You know, when you see tornado victims crying and, you know, all messed up, and you feel empathy for them, but you never been through the shit. When you go through it, that's when you get it. And that's when I got it. I mean, damn, it makes me sad thinking about this shit now, man. But the north side's gonna bounce back. I always felt that the north side got left. I feel like the north side and the west side always got left behind. You see where all the money goes to. Again, there are no cranes in the neighborhood, you know, removing the trees and debris and shit like that. But I bet you, if we were in Central West End, you wouldn't see any rubbish, any trees, any shit like that on the ground. And I think our city has let us down. Our elected officials have let us down a lot. And the thing is that as people, we have to get involved in the elective process. I know a lot of y'all feel like, fuck voting, my vote don't count. Your vote counts for something, because when you don't vote, you give it to somebody else. So if you don't do nothing else, educate yourself. I'm just thinking, a few years ago when I was back over here for a short period, and I remember the alderman living right around the corner. And I'm saying, how's this guy getting a brand new driveway, you know, giving himself a brand new driveway when you got trash and you got lots with shit as tall as me? How do you do that? How do you sleep at night? You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is that this is my rant, because I could do that, is that black people have been down for so long, so when they get in power, it corrupts them. That's my
appreciated the value of everybody home around it, because the last 40 years it just set like this, you know. And it's just, man, to finally see work done. I pass through here every day, you know, coming from Yateman just to pass through here, and it's depressing to just see it like that. And that the neighborhood gone. We used to have, what is it, 15,000 people just around in the surrounding area, and half of them went to Harrison, half of them went to Yateman, and then, you know, everybody just left. You know, over the years, the families, the older folks, you know, when they left, the kids tried to keep them up, but then the value of them kept going lower and lower because of the stuff that was around. This was a big problem because it kept the value of the homes at low value, and you know, when you couldn't get anybody to come in and fix up because of the value of the home, you couldn't get anything out of them, they stayed away. And then you have to blame the the predecessors, the mayors that were before. They had monies that they could have come in and did something with all of North St. Louis, but they didn't. So, you know, so this is again lack of care because of government officials, city officials, you know, and it's just good to see finally after years. Make me feel good.
Yeah, the same day he was born, me and my brother, we was out here throwing football, and we got the news that Ike was born. It was on, matter of fact, it was on a Saturday, just like this. It was a beautiful sunny day in November 2nd, we all playing football, and I was actually standing where my mom's car is parked there right now, and my aunt said, she said Carol had the baby. My mom name is Carolyn. She said Carol had the baby. And it was a boy, and I remember me and Jason just super excited. So who's some of your major influences?
Wow. I love Oprah. She was an interviewer who could get people to really open up.
Take it serious. And the thing is that if it wasn't for grassroots media, if it wasn't for the people getting behind us with the grassroots media, you know, this isn't small time.
They want to play in full 32 minutes of basketball, and that's the thing that he was just constantly harping on them, you know, and they found some things that they need to work on.
You do a lot of things out of the football.
Yeah, he you know how I like to say, persistence and consistency. This is the network.
City to city, state to state, worldwide. You are listening to the NThe Zone Network.
We from the loop. We'll show you, better fucking show you.
I'm Les Thomas. Everybody call me L Boogie. Part of the NThe Zone family. So let's get to it.
All right, what's going on, Les? When was the first time you met Palmer?
I think it was probably at a family function. It's a funny story because I think when I first met him, you know, we didn't like officially meet. I think we were at a community center, and he was shooting a little hoop, and I was kind of on the other side of the fence at the time. You know, I wasn't the most popular person in the world, so you know, but we finally kind of hooked up about 2000. About the year 2000, we finally kind of hooked up and, you know, started to bond a little bit better. So since then, it's been off to the races.
Okay. So what would you say your relationship was like with him?
I mean, like I said, early on, it was a little distant, but it didn't take long at all for us to really bond. It was just really just about getting to know each other, you know, and finding out what we had in common. And, you know, it was just, like I said, once we connected, it's been more like a brotherhood than anything. I mean, technically, I could say, oh yeah, that's my wife's cousin, but, you know, on the real tip, that's my brother.
Yeah, family type of vibe.
Absolutely.
All right. Can you talk about being his co-host on the 60-Minute Warning?
Oh man, some good times, man. When he first brought that up to me, I would say I was a little intimidated because I know this was something that he was driven to do. Myself, I knew I can sit and talk some sports and things like that, but I really wasn't sure where my fit was gonna be. But once we got into it, man, he made it real easy. He made it really easy for me. You know, it was just really an atmosphere to where I could just be me. You know, he didn't want me to pretend to be this person or that person. He just made an atmosphere to where I could just be myself, be relaxed. You know, kind of like this setting right here. And man, it was awesome. It was some really good times. And also be in the same studio with some local greats like Onion Horton, you know, like Vader, you know, it was an awesome experience, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you learned a lot from him.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the scoring credentials for independent radio back in 2003 with the Rams and the Blues.
Man, I didn't even know what a credential was till I got with my man Palmer. I'm telling you, you know, once you start having conversations with him, you know, you start to learn what the landscape of local media is, and it's not always nice, you know. So I know he made some pacts with a lot of people. He just knew who to talk to get what he needed to get as far as those credentials was concerned. I had no idea he was gonna be able to score that for me, but like I said, he knows who to talk to, so he got that for me. And to actually be in those venues with that tag around my neck, I felt like somebody. I'm telling you, it was weird. I think I even flashed my credential at the police one time. You know. Hey, look, they stopped and we were stopping talking to somebody. All of a sudden, the city police came up on us, and it was just like, you know, what y'all doing? Hey, look, when I see police, I'm trying to flash anything I got. That credential was the first thing I had. We the media. So it was one of those moments where that credential empowered me. So, but yeah, to have that, and be able to go to the Blues games and go to the Rams games and be able to go down on the field and be able to go into the locker rooms. I mean, you know, I mean, a lot of times I just felt like I was floating, because I was just like, am I really supposed to be here? You know, but I had my recorder, I did what I had to do, and we just had fun doing it.
Yes, having fun, that's important.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what were some of your initial thoughts when Palmer first got started with podcasting?
Oh, that was like a drop in the bucket. That was for him to do that was pretty much easy work. It was just all it was just a transition. You know, I think the whole time he was going to end up transitioning to something like podcasting. You know, he's done color. You know, he's done, you know, one-on-one reporting with people and interviews with people. I mean, it was really just, like I said, it was just a transition, man. I thought that was an awesome move for him to go into the podcasting. There was no doubt in my mind that, you know, he would be able to do it. You know, and like I said, the one thing about Palmer is that he brings in those people who he knows can, you know, make things flourish. You know, so, you know, he like I say, he whether it's family, whether it's just long-standing friends and whatnot, you know, we all gonna do what we can do to even make what he wanted to do as far as podcasting even better, man. So it was just a transition for him, and it was pretty smooth.
Oh yeah. All right. So we had Josh Price on, and he compared Kill to Kevin Garnett. As far as his passion for the business and everything, who would you compare Kill to? The living legend Kill.
Oh man, there's a lot of people I could compare him to, but you know, to be honest with you, you know, the way he goes about it as far as business, man, it's, you know, to anybody I necessarily know, he's always been a cut above when it comes to, you know, the way he goes about business. And like I say, he's always 2 steps ahead of everything. You know, I mean, the way his mind works, he's got a fail safe for pretty much everything. You know, I call him, he's the unstoppable. You know, I mean, I think about Jerome Bettis, think about the bus. You know, you really couldn't stop him. You know what I'm saying? Once he gets on that track, he's on that track. He's going forward. You know, he ain't going back. So that's who I would compare him to as far as a business mind, because you can't stop him. You know, he can mention something to you. As far as you're concerned, it's like, well, I know I wouldn't be able to do that, but he would. So it's just like, man, it's just, once he's got something in mind that he wants to do, brother, go do it.
Oh yeah, that sounds like Kill to me.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing now as far as with this documentary and documenting this journey.
Yeah.
And let's get into current times right now. And I want to ask you, where were you when you found out about Palmer having a stroke?
I believe I was actually driving, and I think my wife called me and told me that he had a stroke. And you know, when you hear things like that, you don't necessarily want to believe it's as serious as a stroke is. But I was just, you know, my first thought was just, man, I hope this is not something, you know, serious to where it's going to stop him from achieving the things that he wants to achieve in life, you know. And you know, it took a while for me to even wrap my mind around this brother having a stroke. You know, when you see somebody, before you hear that, you always think about that picture of what you saw. You know, a picture of health, picture of somebody loving life, and then something like that happens, and then, you know, when you see him the next time, it's just like, man, how does that happen? You know, to this guy. You know, so it was definitely a shocker for sure when I first heard it. I was, like I said, I really didn't want to believe it when I first heard it though.
Yeah. Well, and it just shows the resilience of you know, the living legend Kill. About, you know, how he just gonna keep on fighting, keep on pushing, you know.
Indeed.
So what was your opinion about this specific comeback with him working on this documentary, him getting back into podcasting and covering sports again?
You know, once I got to talk to him and, you know, saw that, you know, he was rehabbing and, you know, trying to get back on track, trying to get the speech together and things like that. I'll be honest with you, when he hit that so headstrong, you know, that gave me even a different perspective of who that brother is. You know what I'm saying? Because people will go through something like that. People will go through traumatic things and they tend to want to give up. You know what I'm saying? So, and this brother had the total opposite mindset. You know, he got stronger in his faith, and that helps out a whole lot because, you know, there's one entity that can bring you through anything and everything. And once he connected with that, it was just like the Kill that I know, you know, the pusher, you know, the hustler, you know. It was like, that's why I say you cannot stop him. A stroke cannot stop this dude, you know. And when he started saying that he was going to get back into it, I was ready for him to get back into it because that's, you know, this is what he does. But, you know, he took his time. He wanted to, you know, get it, you know, make sure everything was right, you know, because like I said, he's a perfectionist, you know, so he wants things to be, you know, the way they should be. He needs to be able to look at it himself and say, okay, that's good, because he ain't got no problem saying, I don't like that, you know. So, but when we first talked about him getting back on it, I thought he was ready before he thought he was ready, you know, because we would have conversation. It was just like conversations we would have before he had the stroke. You know, I really couldn't tell any difference, you know, if he was to, you know, get behind the microphone. It would have been easy peasy. But like I say, you know, he's already got a plan, you know, so it just manifested itself, and before you know it, he was back, you know, and I was happy for him.
No doubt about it. You're always happy to see your family bouncing back,
Yes,
and you know, giving that honor to God too.
Absolutely.
That plays a major role.
Yes.
So, Les, we appreciate you for coming out. I want to give you the floor. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share with the people?
Yeah. I honestly, I want to thank Kill for, number one, even having me talk, you know, in front of this camera. You know, I could say a whole lot of things, but he is definitely somebody who motivates me, and you know, he makes me want to be, you know, a better person, a better child of God. You know, he makes me feel like, you know, I can do anything. You know, so it's definitely the type of people you want to be around. You know, because, you know, no is not in the vocabulary whatsoever. You know, is yes and amen. You know, so I'm just happy to, you know, be a part of the NThe Network family, man. And you know, hopefully when this documentary comes out, a lot of people will really understand who this brother is and what he's all about. He's definitely somebody you want in your corner. So, like I said, you know, thank you very much for having me do this, for sure.
field running, you know what I'm saying? But we still got a little bob and weave in it, you know what I'm saying? I still got, when it's in you can't ever just.
We have the Brett Halls, we have, Isaac Bruce, going back to him. I mean, he scored the winning touchdown for the only Super Bowl one for the city of St. Louis, so that carries a lot of weight. Mike, it is so good to see you back in the building. What has this been like?
It's been awesome, see all these people here and their enthusiasm, and just being in the building is always special.
Wow, I mean, so many great memories. I mean, I still can remember running out of the back.
I have the man in charge at Channel 4. You've been pretty much running nonstop. It's like you disappeared from the airways from another station, and then you kept working. And a lot of people didn't really understand the mechanisms of that. Can you kind of get into that a little bit?
Well, for what I can talk about, I'm going to say that I had set out for 6 months, but during that time, I wanted to just find.
Ambition, he can realign it. Yeah. So the question is, will you keep stacking bricks on your own terms? Or will you hand them over to the only builder who sees the...
I actually met Palmer back early 2019 through a frat brother of mine, actually, Kellen Goodwin. Kind of randomly, me and Kellen started working together at a staffing agency and just talking sports, man. He was like, hey, man, I think you really could benefit from, getting connected with Palmer and, just kind of doing some of the radio podcast stuff that he's planning on doing. And so, gave him a call over the phone, talked some NBA with him for, 5 to 10 minutes. Next thing you know, he kind of told me like, hey, man, send me just a quick little, snippet of, you kind of talking, some NBA stuff for a little bit. So, sent about a 5-minute clip to him, and then next thing I know, he said, "Oh no, you ready?" So we gonna kind of start working from here, and then next thing you know, man, made him down at the Central Library here in St. Louis, and kind of got started and seeing what NThe Zone was about from there.
Okay, so in the beginning, what were some of your thoughts about your initial thoughts about NThe Zone Network?
I mean, I didn't know what to expect, right? We was recording in the studio in the library, man, so it's open air, anybody can kind of come in and record, but the one thing that I got from Palmer was just the energy and the vibe of, he's really passionate about what he does. And, he's a person that's going to always give 100% in what he's doing. So, saw that right off the bat, man. He's kind of reminded me of like Kevin Garnett type of energy, man. When when you're talking about somebody that kind of show that fire day in and day out, that was kind of the, instant impression that I got from him. And then really, just kind of seeing how he was working in some of the things, the clips that he was cutting, some of the, monologue, got to see a little bit of that. So got to see him work behind the scenes from day one, man. It always was something that, showed me that he was passionate about what he's doing from radio and podcasting.
That's what's up, man. He got a lot of good things to say about you too,
Hey, I appreciate it always.
No doubt, especially you being a quick learner and, like you said, you already having some of the skill sets. So with that, I wanted to ask you a little bit more. Can you go in depth about the mentorship and what all it involved?
Yeah, man, like, I've always been somebody like, I joke with people and tell them, when other kids was watching, cartoons on Saturday mornings, I was watching Sports Center, man. So sports has always been something that I've gravitated to, something that I've always been able to kind of understand and talk to people about. But the level of mentorship and where Palmer came in was just being able to kind of talk amongst different people. So he's been able to connect me and get me interviews with different people in the industry, from writers that cover football. Howard Ball's a legend in sports media. Got a chance to interview him. Got a chance to interview Larry Hughes. So being able to kind of pull off those type of opportunities, man, is because of that direct insight from him on, hey, this is how some of these things work behind the scenes, and these are the kind of relationships you got to build. So being able to have those conversations and have that guidance, man, has definitely been a big help.
That's dope. You already answered one of my next questions. I was going to ask you about some of the opportunities, so I'm going to move on And I want to just talk about the Price Check podcast.
Yep.
And just tell the people how it differs from NBA Rundown.
Yeah, so man, typically I try to, go a little bit more in depth just in terms of the, different storylines behind the games, but also giving out predictions and things like that. So where, Palmer and I kind of connect on, kind of where teams are in the standings and things like that, kind of what the outlook is for the season long thing. Price Check gives me a chance at, different points of the season just to tap in with what's going on right then and there. And, kind of how some of those different things are transpiring and why some teams may be up, some teams may be down.
That's what's up. So tell us, how much fun are you having while you've been doing this?
I mean, 10 out of 10, man. From being able to, a couple years back, do the Arch Madness tournament here in St. Louis for the Missouri Valley to now being able to full-time cover SLU. It really is a dream come true. Like, you don't think of being able to go in and out of these different arenas, talking to coaches and other media members and just, being able to rub elbows with those different people. It's a real cool experience to be able to do that and be able to, real time kind of live out things that you saw. Again, going back to the days of watching SportsCenter, ESPN as a kid, man, you being able to see some of those sideline reporters and things. So being able to be in those types of positions, man, it's real cool.
Yeah, that sounds like it's pretty cool. I got one more for you, Josh, before I let you go. What do you want people to remember you most for now that you are in the space?
Great question. I think I want to most be remembered for not only the knowledge that I bring when I talk about sports, but just the way I show my personality through that. I think there's a lot of people who are knowledgeable. There's not as many people that know how to really talk that talk in a bunch of different rooms. So for me, I just want to be able to show that versatility, show that I can come talk to you for an hour and a half about the NBA and college basketball the same way that I can talk to you about NFL and college football. So being able to not only do it in a way where anybody can understand it, but do it in a way where people can have fun with it. I think that's what I want to be remembered for the moment.
That's what's up. Well, appreciate your time, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
2026 going to be a great year for everybody.
Hey,
looking
man,
forward to it. You got anything you want to let the people know, how to follow you, any advice?
Keep tuning in to what we're doing, man. Of course, all of the NThe Zone Network, social medias, YouTube, of course, Price Check Pod on both YouTube, Instagram. We're going to keep working, man. So a lot, that you get a chance to see behind the scenes today, but also, man, we got a lot more in store that we haven't, gotten a chance to really voice just yet. But a lot more coming from NThe Zone, bro.
Bob Ramsey, how you doing, Bob?
I am doing very well. 16-1. It'd be hard to be anything but really happy and good.
And a lot of these guys are only gonna play 1 year together, but he has some.
I think Zubac will be a great fit at the center position for the Celtics. About Kellen, and we've also talked about the versatility overall of this team. Talk about what you've seen, and we've all kind of seen it in these SLU games here. Them being able to go to some of these 4-guard or all-guard lineups with guys like Kellen, Quentin Jones, and Martin McConnell.
Never trailed in this game. Played with a huge lead. Lost the lead a little bit, but ran the score up. Got 31.
I mean, outstanding offensive performance.
Kellen Thames. The one thing about him that I really like is the fact that not only he plays downhill, he's basically like a 6'6" whirling tornado.
That I think Anthony Davis is going to wind up with.
Okay, that's the voice of Josh.
My real name is Tim West. I'm an artist, I'm a songwriter, I work in the podcast industry, and professionally I'm a teacher assistant over at Cahokia High School.
Nice, okay. So we're going to get into this interview real quick. When did you first meet Palmer?
I believe it was in the early 2000s, probably right at 2003.
Okay, 2003?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's your relationship like with him?
I believe it was business, turned into friendship. He was denied an opportunity at a certain radio station in town, 1380. And I looked at that opportunity to turn something negative around and bring that brother over to New Black City. I explained to him what we were doing upstairs, and I think he heard about us from a friend of his. Wasn't that Kevin Spraggins?
Okay.
Yep,
Kevin Spraggins?
Yep, and the rest was history. We brought Palmer up there. Palmer hit a home run.
Okay, so 20 years you've been knowing Palmer. Let us know, what was it like working with him at New Black City in 2003?
To me, I felt like I was the student learning from him.
Okay.
Palmer is very professional with the sports genre and the media. And any sports genre out here, this man knows it. Anything that was controversial in sports, Palmer called it out. And he was that black voice that our community needed to speak on our behalf, because we know in St. Louis, black voices are being suppressed. But if you're a black man, you stand on your own, you can think for yourself, you don't have to compromise yourself. They don't really want you in there. But Palmer represented our culture and our people well.
Yeah, to this day, I feel like he's still doing the same thing.
Yeah, and it was my honor. See, Palmer came in with this professionalism already. Me, Jump, Uncle Rudy, we were just guys that were just lucky enough to be on the microphone and talking and doing music and touching on issues. But with Palmer, I think he added on to what we needed. Palmer kind of schooled us on professionalism on the mic and how to articulate yourself and be prepared and be astute to the game.
Okay, that's right. All right, so tell us about giving the station credibility with interviews from Joe Bucks to Bob Costa, etc., those type of names.
We didn't have anything going on like that for us in sports. And Palmer and L Boogie came up there and they created that space where it brought eyeballs to it from the sports genre. I didn't know none of those guys. I'm not really all that influenced in sports. Jump is, but Palmer is that consummate professional that's out in that genre, doing interviews, going in the locker rooms and talking to some of the big people. Palmer he was already a name. He just needed somewhere where he can, express his skills and get behind the microphone and let people hear how, he see it and how the way he's going to say it. He was very professional and just to the point, and it kind of helped shaping New Black City, and it gave New Black City that shot in the arm to be taken seriously other than entertainment.
Okay, so from New Black City and those things from working with him there, how do you think that prepared him for podcasting?
I believe Palmer was already prepared for podcasting. This man was already the master of ceremonies behind the microphone. He's knowledgeable, well-informed, up-to-date. What else can I say? This man brought knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. And there was a young man in the game doing this. So him being prepared for podcasts, no, I think Palmer pretty much gave podcasts its flavor.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. So we're gonna get to current times a little bit right now. Where were you when you found out about his stroke?
I haven't talked to Palmer in a nice while, and I don't know if he reached out to me. I reached out to him. He told me he had a stroke, and I was like, what? I was just shocked, and I was torn apart, man. I was like, you don't want to hear anything, medically going wrong with one of your friends. And me personally, the way I felt Palmer was invincible. That's how I felt. It was like hearing Iron Man have a chink in his armor. But at the same time, Palmer's human just like anybody else. I was concerned and I wished him well, and I always checked in on him to make sure he was okay. Because the living legend, he's a dad, he's a friend, he's a mentor, and he's a partner to a lot of us out here. He's very important to media, period, whether it's sports or whether it's news or even entertainment, because the living legend can be very entertaining. If the living legend, if I can compare him for giving promos, if he was in the wrestling game, he'd be very similar to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh yeah. So the living legend, huh?
Yeah, that's what we call him. The living legend, Palmer Alexander.
Yeah. And what he doing now, currently, as far as his comeback with podcasting and covering sports again, what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a wonderful thing and it's a blessing because we know here in St. Louis, he's not going to be able to get on KMOX, KFNX, 1380 or any other the white-owned stations here in town or the newspaper. It's better that you create your own out the mud and do what you have to do. Palmer is a man. Palmer's not going to let anybody hold him back from doing anything, whether it's him just, you know, being a sports broadcaster or him even wanting to play sports or him just walking these streets with something profound to say. When the living legend says something, trust me, he's well studied. He knows the game. He researched hard. Sometimes I don't even know if this man sleeps or not. This man is a walking young encyclopedia of sports.
Yeah, that sound like the living legend.
And I would put my money on that.
Yeah, me too.
And we need a living legend, Palmer Alexander, out here to give it to us, even if he had to go out and create his own brand. And I salute him and I respect him highly. It motivates me to want to be better at what we want to do. When we had him over there at New Black City with us, it upped the game. Let me add that to the interview.
Definitely. I agree with you. So give us some of your final thoughts.
Palmer Alexander, he's a positive force of energy. He's a wisdom of information. Forget the encyclopedia books, even though they need it. The living legend can probably add more to those encyclopedia books. He is a Bible of knowledge, truth, and facts. He can go up against any of them in this town or in the world. And since he's not over there at ESPN and some of the big ones, NThe Zone Sports can do it. And everybody's talking about the wonderful work that he's doing over there. Palmer is a great friend and a great mentor that I respect and I honor.